This is Sway. Sway.
Sway.
Sway.
In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning. Shake that fire. Wake your fuck ass up. Across the morning.
Last night I witnessed something I've never seen in the form of a presidential debate. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump finally, for the first time, squared off one-on-one on stage to discuss the issues and the future of this beautiful country that we all live in, we all take advantage of, we all benefit from being a part of this country. And it must have been, I don't know what the ratings are, but I would imagine it's probably one of the most, if not the most watched presidents. You got the ratings?
Well, when I was streaming on Facebook Live for a studied hour, it was 200,000 people.
Really?
Oh, wait. No, I'm lying. It was millions. There was another zero.
Okay. 20 million maybe? Or
yeah.
Okay, so check that out.
Never mind.
Yeah, go ahead and research it. Go ahead and check that out, Tracy.
There were a lot of people watching it.
I got more followers on Twitter than that. Come on, Tracy. I'm sure there's more people than that.
Has always admitted she's not good with reading numbers.
The numbers, yeah,
She doesn't like numbers.
Hey, when it comes to you, just raise your hand. Just let me know. All right, but
I saw a lot of comments.
My voice is better.
some of the numbers that have come back are from a CNN poll that said at the last night's debate, 62% of voters who tuned in to watch thought Hillary Clinton was the winner, while 27% thought that Donald Trump had a better night. Mike, where were you watching the debate, Mike Muse?
Yeah, last night at 4040, so I hosted a debate watch party with some folks in the city, and so it was great being around a lot of people who were just enthusiastic about having intelligent conversations and really concerned about the issues of our nation. So it was a good time.
So you assume that everybody knows what 4040 is. For the rest of the people who don't live in cities that have a 4040 club, can you explain that?
Sorry about that. So 4040 is a club by Jay-Z, and it's here in like downtown Manhattan. So yeah, it was a nice little sports bar. It's a sports bar.
So
actually.
Jay hired you, contracted you to host this party at his club.
No. Jay did not. No, the Carters did not personally ask me to host it for them at their club.
They know you, though.
I do know them.
Yeah, okay. But
I see what you did.
You see what I did right there?
yeah, like that. Look, I'm just going to get to some of the moments that happened, and I want to get your feedback, and you tell me who was most effective in these particular moments. One of the moments that became just kind of a hot moment is when the Lester Holt, the moderator, asked Donald Trump to clarify what he meant when he said earlier in the month that Hillary Clinton didn't have a presidential look. Here's what he had to say.
She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina. And I don't believe she does have the stamina. To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
The quote was, I just don't think she has a presidential look.
Wait a minute, Leslie, you asked me a question. Did you ask me a question? You have to be able to negotiate our trade deals.
Okay, now hold up. Hillary Clinton had a response to what Donald Trump had to say, and this is how it went.
As soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
This was a big... Why did Lester need to ask that question? Why was this a big moment in the debate, you think?
Because for the last couple of weeks, Donald Trump has been talking about a couple of issues. One about she doesn't have the presidential look. One would assume that goes into the gender play. Secretary Clinton had an issue with pneumonia, which we all watched her knees buckle. Her had to take some time off the campaign trail due to exhaustion. So there was a lot of commentary that came into play about her age. And then with somebody with pneumonia, somebody not doing good, if they could sustain themselves as president of the United States. And so the look of it that he addressed was important for Lester Holt to address that, because that might have went to gender biases. Trump switched it to talk about stamina, which was important for her to come back with that in terms of the way she clapped back at him and talk about how much she's traveled, all the countries she's went to, all the work that she's done. And if you want to testify in front of 11 hours of Congress, then you can talk to me about stamina. So it was important for her to really double down that she actually has the strength and the mental capacity to do this job. So it's about job. It's a question about job evaluation.
In that moment, who had the edge?
Secretary Clinton had the edge on that one because we all know that Trump did the bait and switch. He didn't talk about stamina. He really said it's about her look. So she was able to contextualize both gender and then talk about energy and stamina in order to do the job as president.
Taxes were a big issue. Why hasn't Donald Trump released his taxes when every presidential candidate that in the past 39 years has?
Yes.
And then that became a moment, where everybody was glued to the TV, and he started attacking her and her emails, and this is how it sounded.
I get audited almost every year. And in a way, I should be complaining. I'm not even complaining. I don't mind it. It's almost become a way of life. I get audited by the IRS, but other people don't. I will say this. We have a situation in this country that has to be taken care of. I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns.
Was that a good? I thought that was a kind of a great way to turn it back around on her.
It absolutely was a great way to turn it back around on her in terms of the pivot moment, which he didn't have a lot of pivot moments, but that was a great pivot moment for him to talk about that. In terms of why the taxes situation is so interesting, what Lester Holt then pressed him on was, is this a negotiation tactic then? Donald Trump said yes. But this previous statement said that he won't release it because his lawyers have advised him not to because he's under audit. So are you not releasing because you're under audit, or then are you willing to release it if it's a negotiation tactic? So then why can't you release the taxes, which every president has done over the 40 years? So that was a point for him in terms of pivot. Her point for a pivot that she had was she talked about, what are you hiding? It was almost watching like a court case on trial, how the prosecution has to present doubt, right? And say, the defense has to say, is there reasonable doubt? If there's reasonable doubt, then you have to acquit my client. So what she was saying was that, are you not releasing your taxes because of the 4 or 5 following things, which were, are you not as rich as you said you are? Do you actually have not paid any federal income taxes? Are you not as charitable as one would make itself seem to be? So she outlined all these things to make you wonder and question whether or not he was the reason why he was not releasing his taxes.
Okay. Who do you think came out on top in that exchange?
Secretary Clinton came out on top on that exchange. If you look at it in terms of like policy perspective and what were the actual facts, in terms of what was happening in terms of optics and the way it played to the entertainment of a crowd, Trump had really great comebacks in terms of that. He also had a really great comeback when she said he talked about the federal government doesn't do a good job in terms of investing in infrastructure, which is true. Our roads, our bridge are crumbling, and also too that our airports are defunct, and he was absolutely right with that. Her comeback was, well, that's because you're not paying any federal income. His comeback, which was great, he said, if I did pay, the government wouldn't know what to do with it. And then he also said, I'm not paying any federal income taxes, so that makes me smart. Right? And so you had to ask yourself, how does that play outside in like Ohio, Indiana, Iowa? That actually plays well. The sentiment of the country is that the federal government has mismanaged funds. The sentiment of the middle America says that the federal government has not done enough in our roads and bridges. We fly to these airports all the time, no matter what part of the country you're in, and we see that our airports are crumbling right before our eyes. And so from that perspective, he was absolutely right. If you don't know anything about policy and facts, which is what the dichotomy of what this debate was, it was about policy and facts on one side, and then what is just the general practical sentiment of like middle America on the other.
On the other, right? Mike Muse is here. Karen Hunter is going to join us momentarily. She's a host on Sirius XM Urban View. Also the host of the Karen Hunter Show Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. And then we're going to open up the phone lines, 888-742-3345.
Now more of the daily news on Sway in the Morning.
We got the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, publisher, professor, best-selling author, the one and only Karen Hunter, from the host of the Karen Hunter Show, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. on Sirius XM Urban View, 7 to 9 p.m. on Sirius XM Insight. And she came to give us some insight on what she thought about the presidential debate. A couple of topics we touched on so far, Mike Muse, was the question of Hillary's stamina and presidential look.
Yes, we talked about that.
And you felt?
I felt that it was Yes, it was a question about her stamina in response to what she had with pneumonia, her health concern. The first part that he amended in this debate, he inserted stamina, but he was talking about presidential look. Did that play to gender? So she addressed those issues in her comeback. The second thing that we talked about was taxes and why not? How come he hasn't released his taxes? That's what we talked about so far.
Karen Hunter, what did you think about those exchanges? Let's start with the taxes.
Let me just be clear. Hillary Clinton could be like Stephen Hawking in a wheelchair, sucking through a straw, speaking through a computer as a stem cell, and I'm voting for her in November.
Okay.
So whether she has stamina, whether she's on one foot, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm voting for her in November. And if last night was any indication of what a Trump presidency would look like, we're in a world of trouble. I don't know who the 27% of the people are out there that thought he won.
Yeah.
But y'all need to either check your heart or your IQ, because there's severely a problem there. If you could watch what we watched last night, and think that he actually won that debate.
Yeah, but does he not touch on a pulse of what a lot of Americans are feeling right now?
Like what?
That the country is in shambles.
Is it? But it's propaganda.
You know, or we need to improve our streets, our airports.
Yeah, we do need to improve our infrastructure, but do we believe he can do it?
I just know we all know it needs to be done.
Okay.
And I think he's more of a I don't know, he leads the cheer. He leads the chant.
He's a cheerleader. We don't need a president cheerleader. We need somebody that can actually do some stuff.
Okay.
And 6 bankruptcies, 3 failed marriages, I'm not quite sure. Trump the stakes, the ties in China. What has he actually done, and who's he giving jobs to except for his own family members and people in his own community? I'm not sure that he can accomplish. Yeah, so he can talk big, but a lot of people talk a lot of smack.
So how do you explain these numbers, like being so close?
Again, we either have a heart problem or an IQ problem.
Okay.
This country is woefully ignorant.
Okay. Karen Hunter, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to find out your thoughts. We got Mike from Mississippi on the line. Big Mike, what up?
What up, Mike?
What's up, Sway? What's up, morning crew? How y'all doing?
All right, Mike. Go real quick, man. We got a lot of people in the room. Go ahead. What's your comment?
Okay. I want to talk about how when they talked about the Black Lives Matter and the policing. It clearly showed Donald Trump didn't give a damn about the black people, because at the end of the whole debate, the first thing he does is go out there and shake his white people's hand. He didn't even shake the moderator's hand at all. At all. And I felt like it showed me, wow, you don't care about us. You talk about law and order. Where's your law and order by trying to make us get in line instead of bridging the gap between us?
You know, one of the comments that came up was Lester Holt, I believe, talked to him about race relations in this country and stop and frisk policy, and which was implemented and deemed unconstitutional back in 2013 here in New York City. Here's what Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton had to say.
But I really don't believe. In New York City, stop and frisk, we had 2,200 murders, and stop and frisk brought it down to 500 murders. 500 murders is a lot of murders. Hard to believe. 500 is like supposed to be good. But we went from 2,200 to 500, and it was continued on by Mayor Bloomberg, and it was terminated by current mayor. But stop and frisk had a tremendous impact on the safety of New York City, tremendous beyond belief. So when you say it has no impact, it really did. It had a very, very big impact.
Well, it's also fair to say, if we're going to talk about mayors, that under the current mayor, crime has continued to drop, including murders. So there is.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Murders are up. All right, you'll check.
New York has done an excellent job, and I give credit. I give credit across the board, going back to mayors, to police chiefs, because it has worked, and other communities need to come together to do what will work as well.
All right, so Karen, how do you think in terms of in terms of that topic, who you think hit the points best?
I think neither one of them actually answered the question, which was how to heal race relations in this country. And if Trump's answer is to, and I call him the Orange Cheeto, I don't even call him by his name on my show.
Okay.
But if the Orange Cheeto's answer is stop and frisk, more racial profiling, law and order, as if the problem in the black community and why we're being shot in the streets, not just by ourselves, but by police officers, is because we don't have enough police and we don't have enough law and order, that is scary. And anybody who's black who's considering voting for him, this is his response. What, is he going to round us up? What is he going to do? Shoot us more? Like, I'm not sure. Stop and frisk. More black youth, black men were stopped and frisked in New York than existed in New York City. And crime is down. Hillary Clinton was right about that. Murders went up a little bit, but overall crime was down. I checked my facts on my Party of Lincoln app. Shout out to Jameson Bennett. But I was fact-checking the whole night.
Yeah.
But she didn't answer the question either.
Yeah.
And here's the problem. Anytime we talk about race relations, people are talking about crime and poverty. The reality is black women are the most educated in this country, the most educated in this country. Only 26% of us actually live in poverty. Suicide rate is the lowest of any other group. As a group, moving, we vote more, we are more cohesive, and so the answer can't be we gotta fix your education, we gotta law and order and all this other stuff. We have to. This is a wake up call for black folk.
Yeah.
Nobody has our back. We need to bring it together, stop the being in our feelings, and start realizing that our power is in our $1.3 trillion that we spend every year. And the fact that we do vote as a bloc, let's start using that as powerful and not keep putting people in Congress and putting people in the White House that don't have our best interests at heart.
Who do you think appealed to the minority vote in the end after this topic was brought up, Mike Muse?
Yeah, I think Secretary Clinton did a great job actually addressing the issues and improving race relations within the black community and police. I think Donald Trump, as he wants to address policy, I think it was misplaced to talk about stop and frisk within that context when the question was improving race relations.
Yeah.
One can't improve race relations with a policy as divisive as stop and frisk in terms of how it has a negative effect on the community relations with police officers. Secretary Clinton, I felt, did a really great job in turning the narrative around in one good way. Donald Trump has been on the campaign trail for a while discussing all the negativity things about how he says inner cities and how bad inner cities are and how dangerous they are and how blacks can't even walk down the street, where Secretary Clinton really recontextualized that, and she said, no, let's talk about the upliftment of the black community. Let's talk about all the great things the black church is doing. Let's talk about the black small businesses, which is the backbone of the black communities, how what they're doing to provide services, goods, and employment. So she talked about the good, which we had never heard before.
Yeah.
Then we saw something very interesting. We saw for the first time in a presidential debate, a major party nominee talked about systemic racism that occurs in our justice system. She said there's systemic issues, and she actually, for the first time, we've never heard it in this context, where she says the odds of when a white man gets pulled over by a cop versus a black man gets pulled over by a cop, the outcome is different. They end up getting arrested, charged, prosecuted, and then jailed and with a criminal record. And so she was saying what ends up happening is that becomes a record which prohibits these type of individuals to have a better lives for themselves.
But let me ask you this.
She still didn't answer the question.
And one of the points he brought up is you've been in politics for 30 years. I mean, if you knew all of this was related to a whole nother subject matter. Why haven't you said or done anything since? So this is our first time really hearing her say that, or a presidential candidate. But she has been in office for how many years, and this has been a problem in our country for how many years? Why hasn't it been brought up since? I mean, before.
This has actually been something on the rise actually in the last 3 to 4 years, right? So our nation has been talking about this as a nation. Independent pockets have been talking about it. But again, it goes to the community or those who are interested about a topic has responsibility to populate it up to the top in order to create noise. This topic was never brought up to the top to create noise so low that it has been since Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was an impetus that allowed our nation collectively to talk about the injustices that are occurring in Black America. For far too long before the viral videos came out, we thought these type of black-on interaction with police and blacks and outcomes of negative murder was more of an isolated issue. Maybe this is in my hometown. Maybe this is my region. But then nationally we began to recognize, oh, this is happening in all parts of the country, and now we are all seeing what is happening to me, things that are happening to my cousin, things that are happening to family friends, things we've heard about, but we never had actual physical evidence to see. Once we began to see it, then the nation collectively as a black community, we began to rally together as a collective. For far too long, other people thought, well, criminal justice is okay. I don't have any interactions with the law. I'm fine. If you just do right, you know, the reason why you are in jail because you did wrong.
Comply.
But, comply. Yeah. But now we're seeing that's not the case at all. So it became a rallying cry. So as a result, now we are talking about it. And I will say she did offer solutions. One of the solutions she did talk about was retraining the police officers in terms of how they need to be trained in interaction with it. It is a solution. It talks about improving the relations with community officers.
Karen, I see you shaking.
Well, a couple of things. Social media is a catalyst, but every black family has had to talk. You know, we wouldn't have to have that talk unless we all knew that there was a systemic problem with the way police interact with us for generations, right? So that is one thing. So you're right, social media, and you're also right that we haven't put pressure on power to change anything. So this is what I'm saying. This should be a rallying cry and a wake-up call for us to understand that neither candidate actually has a solution to the things that ail us, and we need to apply pressure on them to make sure we tell them what they want. We have a black president, Loretta Lynch is the head of our Justice Department, and we don't see any cases being brought to justice, and that's our fault because we keep electing people and not putting pressure. We are happy to be in the room, but we don't ask for anything. So
I would disagree with that. A couple of things that now as a collective, this is our rallying cry for Black America is criminal justice reform. We've seen the executive order from the President Obama with Attorney General Loretta Lynch discuss that we need to remove the privatization of our federal penitentiary system. So that's now removed. What Secretary Clinton proposed yesterday was to go a step further and remove the privatization of the state prison systems. And she said that you cannot have a state or a privately funded prison system and then attempt to try individuals on these cases in order to profit your returns and your bottom lines. So that is one solution. Another solution she talked about was retraining our police force.
Again,
the issues that were happening in Black America are so well reversed. One of the issues I have about this, how we talk about this as Americans, is that everybody's looking for the right solution, right? There isn't this one solution that's going to be a magic wand. It's a series of incremental steps that need to be taken to create a collective. So one step is changing the privatization of the prison system, which you've been asking for.
Do you think training is the issue, Mike?
I actually do think training is it.
Or is it a hard issue? You could train somebody to the day is long. If they're not inclined to look at you as a human being, you can't train that. That's a hard issue. People need to be policed by people in their community. You don't shoot your neighbors. And I think there should be a residency requirement or a neighborhood requirement that you cannot police a neighborhood that you're not either from or in. And I think that that's part of the problem because I know many cops. I grew up, there was a cop down the street from me. He never shot anybody in our neighborhood. We had block parties and we loved each other, you know. So if we can have more cops like Tommy Norman, and it doesn't have to be race because Tommy Norman in Arkansas is white, but he's from the community, you know, and he goes out with the kids. I think that that's the problem. You can't train people how to treat people like human beings.
Well, you can't train that, but you can train to understand. And the training is training is more of a broad stroke, right? When you say training, that it could be a 6-week series, it could be a 6-month training. A part of that is behavioral science, behavioral dynamics, patterns, understanding isms, flavor, character, personality. We talked about with 2 officers last week about that. So I think training in a broad stroke could address a lot of these issues of understanding community and dynamics and demographics.
Wait, hold up. What you want to say, Heather?
Wow.
All right, there's so much we could discuss, but I want to continue the conversation online. Karen Hunter, you can find her, the host of the Karen Hunter Show, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m., SiriusXM Urban View, and 7 to 9 p.m. on SiriusXM Insight. And you can find her online. You can hit her
Karen Hunter. I tweet, so let's get it.
All right, get at Karen Hunter. Let her know your thoughts of the debate. Any questions you have, you want her perspective. Just hit her directly, okay? Then Mike Muse.
Yes, hit me on all social media platforms at I am Mike Muse, MUSE, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram.
In the beginning of the debate, Trump had a pretty good demeanor going. Like he looked strong.
Wait, the nose thing? Did y'all talk about that?
No,
nobody.
Come on, I don't talk about
the water.
Come
on. Yeah. All right.
What, him sniffing? Yeah, he had a cold. What do you?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Howard Dean, who was a physician who was running for president, claimed something else. Y'all can Google that. I'm not gonna say anything.
That's a rival. You think he what? Coke?
I don't know.
You think he did coke before he did the debate?
I'm not saying that I didn't say it. I'm just
think
Google
he did a line before he did the debate? He was tooting before the debate?
I have no idea. I will not confirm nor deny it.
He was sick. Whoa. All right, Karen Hunter, Mike Muse, thank you. We got sports up next.
Thank you. Yeah.
Shade 45.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45. Kilo.